This is my entry for this week's DreamSnap, Small Wonder. So for this one, I really wanted to use Alice's larger form. To make sure that was even possible, I did some testing prior to starting this. And the main thing I found was, at least for me, she would not do the animation if she was equipped with her cat Dinah. Once I unequipped it from her, she started doing it. So, knowing it was possible, I decided to go with an Alice in Wonderland theme, as I liked the giant teacups and cards, and went looking for other giant items to mix in the background. Grabbed the airborne heart, as the look I was planning on using for my character was inspired by the Queen of Hearts, so it felt fitting. Grabbed the peaceful meadow flower bush for Alice to interact with, and trigger her shrinking and growing animation. Though other bushes and flowers would probably work, but that was the first one I saw her use, so I went with it. Grabbed some Dixie Acres clusters to add some giant flowers in the background. Getting a better angle, grabbing the red version, scooting things to make a little more room, and sort through everything. I wasn't really sure what I wanted for the backdrop, so I was just scooting things around hoping something would click. I was trying to make a bit of a path, or opening, so everything wasn't cluttered together. Pulling the snail over, and we're looking for something to help fill in the empty spots in the background. Most were not feeling right. I didn't mind the giant daffodil, so I added it. Scattering in some Mome Wraith living path, and grabbed the Queen's Tower. Adding one on both sides. Tweaking placements. Adding another tea time fountain. Adjusting one of the teapots. Adding more dice, and more cupcakes. I was looking for the Wonderland hedges, but I couldn't remember what they were called, and they didn't come up when sorting by Alice in Wonderland. Grabbed the Wonderland maze portal. I wanted to put it behind the teddy bear, but it didn't fit, so scooting the cluster in the back, adjusting things so they aren't blocking it, adding more cards, and dice, more living path, and I wanted to see if I could get the portal to look like it was lit up, by angling the theater stage lights from behind. But it wasn't working. Back to looking for the Wonderland maze. Apparently they're just called topiary. Grabbing the curious labyrinth entrance, which was the part I wanted. Adding it in front of the portal, moving things closer. Considered adding some of the topiaries in the back, but they wouldn't really be seen. Adding some more bushes for Alice to interact with, scattering them around, adjusting the portal. Adding more living path, more daffodils, and to have Alice interact with the bushes, I was going to need to stop hanging out with her. But I didn't want her wandering outside the build, so blocking it off. Using the bushes to block in the area, so she would have more of them to interact with, and I wouldn't mind the greenery if it ends up showing in the shot. Stopping hanging out, figuring out where I want to stand. And she immediately started doing her animation. And then decided she needed to say hi to me instead of finish the animation. Felt like my character might be a bit too far over, scooting a little. That felt a little better, but I wanted to scoot the snail a little, and add a few more hearts. Checking how that feels. That's a little better. Trying to keep an eye on Alice, so I can pause her when she does her animation. Lost track of her, and missed her doing the animation. And she's trying to talk to me. Well, I found that when they do this, and you don't feel like exiting camera mode to let them talk, pause their placement, so they don't move on you, pause their pose, toggle the visibility on and off, then unpause them. That will typically reset them out of trying to talk. Back to trying to keep an eye on her while she wanders around. Switching back to second camera mode since I can see her from there, so I can check the camera angle. I kinda wanted to try a slightly closer angle. Scooting a little, to adjust for the camera being pushed, and grabbing the Vizier's Alchemy table to push the camera closer. Checking to see where Alice wandered off to, all the way in the back. Adjusting the camera to follow her. Of course you do your animation where I can barely see you. Waiting for her to grow. Pausing her. Checking the camera. It might be pushed too much. Using selfie mode and the visibility toggle to pull Alice over. Trying to get her in a better spot. That's probably a little too close. And I liked the idea of using the very beginning of the flying pose, to make it look like my character was afraid of giant Alice. but the camera is being pushed too much, so I need to scoot the alchemy table. Checking if that's better. That's a little better, but you can't see the snail anymore. Scooting him. Back to trying to keep an eye on Alice. And after waiting a while, she finally decided to do her animation. Pausing her just as she gets big, pulling her over with selfie mode, pausing her placement so she doesn't wander. And I kinda wanted her to look like she was looking at Alice. To do that, I twisted the camera, redid the animation, paused, then turned the camera back. A little too turned. Trying again. Better, but I didn't like that Alice was getting cut off, so adding a rotation to see if that helps. Maybe a little better, but I wanted to try again without the camera being pushed. Adjusting the snail a little more. I'm not sure. It felt like there was too much sky. Trying third camera. Can't quite get the right angle. And it did not like me trying to add a rotation. I knew it was finicky, but you used to be able to get it to work. Since I'm out of camera mode anyway, making some adjustments. As I kinda liked the idea of having the cards framing the shot. Adding more dice. And another heart. Tweaking the cards. A little more tweaking. Adjusting the die in the back. Checking how that's looking. Better, but it feels a little empty on the right. So, scooting the tower. Closing the area in with more bushes. Adding more daffodils. More giant flowers to fill in the empty spot. Adding another teapot fountain. And another teacup. Adjusting a cupcake. Tweaking the yellow teapot. Getting a better angle. I think that's feeling better, so checking how it's looking. And there's a weird gap between the tower and the teapot fountain, so swapping it with the teacup. Adding more cards. Filling it with more bushes so Alice doesn't escape. Checking if that's better. And it's feeling better, but the card on the right needs adjusting. Better, but I want it to match up with the other side. Adding another heart. Better, but a little more. Almost. Better, but I kinda want to add some floating hearts and fireflies. So adding some love is in the air hearts and fireflies. Checking how that's looking. And while waiting for Alice to do her thing, she kept going too far back where it was hard to see and I kept losing her. Adding more bushes to block her in. And she immediately found a hole I forgot about. Pulling her over with selfie mode. And blocking the hole. Trying again. I liked that, but I felt like there was a bit too much sky, so I wanted to try a lower second camera mode angle. So I switched back into selfie mode, crouched, uncrouched, then immediately switched back into second camera mode. Struggling to catch the pose in the right spot. That felt better, but too much grass in the front. So trying the alchemy table again, making sure Alice can't escape, checking how that's looking. The alchemy table needs to scoot over a little. Better, but there's still a weird empty spot, so I want to add another Mad Hatter card. But it didn't want to let me grab it. So I finally just grabbed it from the rug section. And I kinda wanted to add another tower, as that spot had been feeling like it needed something, but that deleted my cluster. So, cleaning up some bushes, scooting it. Not enough room. Now adding another tower. Filling in the edges with more bushes to block any holes. Checking how that's looking. That was better, but something was still feeling off. So, time to try a different pose. And I wanted to try using a hey hey transition pose to make it look like she was running away instead. To do that, I wanted to mix it with the thinking pose. Going from hey hey when she was reaching for him, then switching into the thinking pose, taking the shot immediately. Pose has potential, but I need to turn a bit, as I wanted her facing more towards the right. Better. Now I just need to catch the pose at the right time, with hopefully some floating hearts in good spots. And I like that! If you're curious, this snap took nearly 3 hours to do. Thank you for watching the video, please like it if you found it at all helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more like this.